Yeah, my name is Victor. I'm from Synapxe, Singapore. In fact, Synapxe is our kind of new name. We just renamed to Synapxe. Last time called Integrated Health Information System, and previously my company name called MOH Holdings. Yeah, so we have been in session. I changed jobs 3 times already. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, let me see. Okay, so this is in fact, a brief introduction of myself and my companies. Currently, I'm managing the health engineering capability within Synapxe, the software engineering and the development group. So, in fact, for me, I have been involved in the HL7 development since 2006, when I led the development of EHR products based on HL7 V3. That time also like V3, V2, V3 RIM, and also the CDS, and also the Synapxe CT. So in addition, in fact, I've been involved in the HL7 FHIR initial the task force at the beginning of after 2010 HL7 working group meetings. Yeah, I think this where, let me see, I met a lot of folks from like FHIR, EVA, all things. Yeah, I think immediately after 2010 working group, we organized the set up HL7 FHIR task force to how do we reinvent HL7. Yeah. Yeah, so in fact, for HL7 FHIR adoption in Singapore is not new. We have essentially, started HL7 FHIR implementation since early 2021, when we work on the one national IT solution to provide API for all the patient mobile portal and APIs. So when we start the National Health SG programs, I mean this National Health SG program, so it's quite natural in late 2022. So it's quite natural for us to adopt HL7 FHIR to transform the healthcare ecosystem. So today I will cover these 4 areas. First is who we are. I just gave a brief introduction of what's the role and responsibility of Synapxe, what do we do. Second, we'll quickly cover the health SG overview, how it transforms Singapore's healthcare ecosystems. And third, we'll talk about this will be dive into a little bit detail into the solutions, look at where and how the solution was implemented using HL7 FHIR. And lastly, we'll quickly cover on the benefits and challenges we face in the beginnings. Yeah, so just like Synapxe, in fact, we play 2 roles. First role is as a country national health IT policy and governance. So this is similar role what played by UNC for US government and also like Infoway for Canada. And the second role we play is implement of national and central systems. So we have played 2 roles. So that's also give an advantage into us in terms like whatever in terms like what standard we want to enforce. In fact, easier to us to control. As long we enforce the certain API in the central system, which is whatever system in the country want to integrate that central system, have to follow whatever the API we defined. So that is easier. Different from the other country, US or Canada, which means you have to go through a multiple year of a journey to debate and even parliament debate, put into law first, then start to implementing. For us, like in fact, we do first, then maybe figure out later how to be put into the laws, yeah, and the policy, yeah. So in terms like, so this 2 slides will talk about Synapxe, what do we do? So this look at in terms, what are the stakeholders we serve? So we have served like more than 2 million of patients. So of course 2 million, which in Singapore total population is 5.9 million. But of course it's total citizen and the permanent residents about 3.5 million. And the rest of 1.5 million is all the maybe the employment pass or the foreigners. So this is why 2 million, because the digital mobile application is only eligible for above certain age, like 16 years old. So around like 2 million population to serve. And we also have serve healthcare professionals from 40 plus public healthcare institutions, agency. So essentially Singapore also is running, like one is the public sector, this is the private sector. So we have more than 40 public healthcare institution and agency. We also serve Ministry of Health and also Statute Board. We also have more than 1,500 the non-public healthcare providers. So this essentially is like GP. In some countries, GP, or called in US countries called family doctors. So the total number I think is around 2,000 family doctor practice. Yeah. Yeah. So this one will talk about the whole suite of service what we provide Synapxe in terms like just now talk about like the policy from IT policy governance, even cyber defense of the whole Ministry of Health, the healthcare sector, IT planning and strategy, even look at the facility and the policy enablement. This is where we talk about even the role like system and product development. So, and all the other operation we to take on. So how many staff we have? Total, currently we have 4,000, more than 4,000 staff. Then how many systems we have managed currently? In fact, we have managed 600 systems. Of course, out of this 600 systems, which means around 60% is the commercial of the cost product. For example, all our hospital environment using EMR product from US. Primary is one is Epic, the other is Allscripts. Then of course, family doctor, which means the system they're using, whatever the system they use, up to them, because we are not mandating for them. Yeah. So and another 30 or 40%, which means application, all Synapse internally design, build, and operate ourselves. So these are the few key national systems all we internally build and the designs. Yeah. So this is to give a big background of the three challenges we're facing for in terms of the current healthcare challenge. First, of course, is in terms of the what's called aging populations. So we have 1 in 4 citizens will become above 65 years old by the 2030. The second one is, of course, the rising impact of chronic disease. So you can see the pretty high number in terms of 1 in 10 will have a diabetes, and 1 in 3 have high blood pressure, 2 in 5 has high cholesterol. So this one, I think, is in terms of even though the Singapore population, the ratio is quite high in terms of 2 in 5 has high cholesterol. And the third one is, of course, the healthcare cost expanding, which means we have tripled 3 times increased to 11.3 billion by in year 2019. So that's where we want to look at in terms of Ministry of Health since 2021 start to how do we transform the healthcare system? How do we shift in terms of the care towards the left so we can do more prevention to prevent even the onset of the chronic conditions. And also the residents can have a strong support, to provide strong support to lead healthy lifestyles so it can prevent in terms of onset of the chronic conditions. And the last one, I have to talk about this one, yeah. So also we also have followed the similar model of the primary care provider. So what's the difference? Because for Singapore, in fact, see the doctor is so easy because it's different from US. For example, you need to book a family doctor, maybe the appointment only 6 months later. For us, it's so easy, which means after drinking coffee, just hop around somewhere, you can see the GP, then go there, book the GP, just queue maybe for 20 minutes, you can see the doctor. So tend to be, we always hopping around. We don't have so-called the concept, US concept, family doctor. So what do we want to transform? We want the transformation also onto every resident in Singapore should enroll to primary care doctor. So he will be overall responsible for the residents' health. Yeah, so this is what the IT challenge to in terms of tech enabling the health SG program. So this is high-level solution in terms of conceptual architecture diagram. So as you can see, the different actors, just now we talk about the residents, more than 2 million residents. And also, of course, they're using the respective system engagement system. Health Hub and Healthy 365 is our national mobile application for all the people, the residents in Singapore to interact with our healthcare ecosystem. Then for the primary care doctor, family doctor from private sector, they're using CMS or whatever system they want to use. CMS stands for Clinic Management System, so equivalent maybe mini EMR system for the GP practice. Then all the public healthcare institutions, they're using the respective patient billing system, order system, also the cluster EMR system. So which means for public sector, we only have 2 major EMR systems, which one is Allscripts, the second one is Epic. Then also the solution we want to put here is the Health SG repository. So this will provide the RESTful API, real-time API, two-way API. One is, of course, contribute data from the respective system to the central repository. Also provide API for the respective system to call the API to retrieve data. So we will provide the RESTful API tools. So what are the key challenges? One is, of course, the total program encompasses 52 systems. one is the central system, then here about total 52 IT system. And some of the system is also like, the vendor could be just a single, maybe some developer, solo developer. So which means that all the system will have a different level of IT maturity. The second one is the short time frame. So total we only have 9 months. We only have 9 months to complete project, which means from the requirements, design, and implementation, only 9 months, which means like even for the API design, we only took 2 months. So we split into 2 batches. Initial requirements we received in September 2022. So within 2 months, we need to look at the requirements, analyze the requirements, define the APIs, and publish the API to all the vendors and do a tech roadshow. So within 2 months. Then of course, the other part, of course, is always the evolving business. I think this could be like also like even before the system go live, a few weeks before the system go live, MOH Ministry of Health still putting up new requirements, changing requests, all this. So we kind of like fly the airplane while still building the airplane. Yeah, so I think these are the resources I think we use, I think, for the health education program. I just will skip this one. Maybe I move to this slide, yeah. So this is show the high level in terms of like a more detailed architecture diagram, the whole solution. So you can see like we have using our own internal in-house built product called FHIR Nexus for rapid development of 36 application APIs. So all our API, we consistently unify. We do not expose the default, the RESTful API. Because one, of course, from security concern, we do not want to expose the full capability to the external system. So when we create the API with a specific input parameter and a specific output parameter. So all our API exposed using HL7 FHIR extend operations. Of course, the operation also support all the create, update, delete, and the search. Then we also you can see from end-to-end solution using the HL7 FHIR. You can see from here, we have 30 APIs exposed, and for all the system to call, a two-way communication. One is for contribution and also to retrieve data. Then here also the 6 APIs. So these are the APIs that need to implement by the respective downstream system, which is essentially the respective EMR system, CMS system. So we were using this API to real-time broadcasting the data to the respective system. So for example, if the care plan is authored by one particular GP, but this care plan also will broadcast the respective other GP, maybe other EMR systems. And from here, the data will be native stored all in the HL7 FHIR-based data model. So mostly is the JSON-based NoSQL format, but we have some is also relational data model using like a patient information and organization information stored in the relational DB, because this is easier for us to do a mass load during the project time, do a one-time mass load all the data inside. Then for here, the data sharing. In fact, we also like using the approach which is native all the JSON file. We don't do any transformation. We also now going to using the CSV format or using the native sharing all the JSON file format. So this design, which means able to, in terms like to preempt the future problem. So as long as the API, the structure never change, because like for example, health plan, the structure will seldom change fundamentally because it only has the problem, the condition to be addressed for the patient, and what are the goals, what are the activity to be performed by the patient or by the doctors. So which means the fundamental structure will never change, but the content will keep on evolving. So with this design, which means every content will change, will not require any change, because what we need requires just update the profile, because we extend using the HL7 profile to validate the content and the structure. And also once validate pass, it will store the data in the Amazon RDS. Then all the data will be automatically broadcast to all the downstream systems. And this data also will be flowed over to all the other systems for analytics purpose and other purpose. So the whole system, which means whenever, for example, like I think this slide talk about like anything, whenever there's content change of the health plan, what requires change is just to validate the patient, the FHIR profile. So as you can see, like what the patient profile looks like, the FHIR profile looks like. So these are the, I'm not going to run through detail, but this illustration, of course, like so it's an example of how do we using profile to validate the incoming, the data structure and the content. So we also specify, for example, like what are the goal allowed, how many goal in the care plan, at most how many goal, and each goal, what's the terminology code set to use. And in terms like the value, even the value, for example, like you want to control the goal is control the body weight, maybe say weight must be certain data range. All this will encode inside the HL7 profile. So whenever the content of change, which means what do we need is just update the profile, load the profile, then the API will be working. Yeah, so this one, yeah. So this one, we also specify all the error code using operational outcome. I think this is follow the HL7 FHIR API approach. Besides HTTP response code, we also contain the operational outcome. But we also specify a list of error code in terms like severity code is defined by HL7 FHIR, but in terms here, the detail element will carry the actual business logic, the error code. So this one, we also list all the error code, different scenario, what's the error code, then share with the vendors. Yeah, here, yeah, okay. So I think maybe, yeah, so this one is what's the, in terms of like HL7 FHIR help us to reduce a significant amount of effort in tech roadshow, how to integrate with the health ESG APIs. So we, in fact, can see like for the entire the health ESG program, there's so many vendors, 51 vendors, but we only conduct 2 workshops. Each workshop, in fact, is just 2 hours. But Prime is, in fact, working through the, in terms of like the business meaning of each data elements, and the roadshow focus on all the other areas in terms of like a naming convention of the extended operations, and what are the specific element extension we defined for each resource, and also in terms of error handling and the list of error code and the sample payload. Yeah. Yeah, so these are the, I think just a quick summarize in terms of like what are the benefits in terms of like I think is and also the challenge. I just maybe highlight the challenge like so one of course like there's some initial perception is I think it's from business perspective, they always tend to be because of I think it could be the implication of the last time the HL7 V3. The people always talk about HL7 FHIR will be very complicated. Are you sure? No? Yeah. So these are things I think is more like this initial. I think is a so-called initial hurdle we face from business perspective. When I communicate to, for example, to our leader, say, for this health SG national program, we must adopt HL7 FHIR. So it's an opportunity for us to transform the whole healthcare ecosystems. Yeah. Second one, of course, is more like a technical. I think is this is because the content resource tend to make the payload more verbose and bigger. So especially, for example, like the composition. For the care report, we use the composition resource. But composition, there's a lot of content in terms of like a resource as an entry. So this generally make the payload, JSON payload, a bit bigger. So I think it may be like, so this a bit also not so intuitive in terms to the developments. Yeah. Yeah, okay, I think that's all have, yeah, maybe, yeah, question, yeah.
Hi, I have one question regarding the RDS in your setup. I understood it like you put everything in a data lake, completely unstructured, or like the original format, and then you put this in RDS structured? Or?
Okay, so the data we direct store in RDS. But of course, each microservice, for example, we have a set of different microservices, right? For example, like a composition, health plan, even questionnaire. So each one has its own database. But all the database is stored in we're using the relational database, but actually stored in the NoSQL format. Okay. Yeah. So that's why when we extract data for external system for analysis purpose, we just take out the JSON file and package JSON file and send to external systems. Yeah.
I'm jealous about your cloud-native architecture.
Yeah.
I was wondering about the analytics platform. You said you did a lot of profiling for the compliance and quality checks when the data gets into the system. Mm. Do you do anything with the profiles in the analysis or just remove all the profiles? Because in analytics, the profiles won't matter anymore.
Okay, the profile is more like in the concept of HL7 profile, which means specify, for example, health. Let's say, for example, this one. Let's say, for example, this one. This is the care plan resource, but we do not use all the elements of the care plan resource defined by HL7. So we only essentially the relevant elements. Of course, then also some element maybe we even constrain inside HL7 could be optional, but we constrain to be mandatory. Then in terms of the goal, for example, the goal, because here is the n to number of goals. But we specify in this requirements at the beginning is we only support up to 8 goals. So we also specify in the HL7 profile how many goals you allow in the care plan resource. when the data come in, and what's the terminology code set for each goal. So this where, for example, the profile we use at the runtime do the validation. When the API come in, for example here, the first layer hit in fact is HL7 profile to validate the content and the structure and the contents. So every data coming will do the HL7 FHIR to validate the content and structure to make sure the data meet our quality requirements and also expect in terms of the terminology code set.
I got a question again on your warehousing strategy in a sense like your Amazon RDS. Is
Yeah.
it serving as your unified data warehouse requirements, or it is just a transactional store of your data sets?
Okay, so Amazon RDS, we treat the transactional database, but actually the data warehouse, we extract all the data to AWS data lake. So that's where, for example, like we store in the Apache Parquet format. Then using the, essentially, we're also doing some POC using Amazon Bedrock, the large language model. How do we churn out all the results? Yeah, statistics.
So your data integration is happening during the pipeline of extractions, like out of AWS Data Lake, you are having the batch integrations. So is it in that pipeline you are integrating the data? Because Data Lake will not have the data integrations, or you have the pipelines built
Okay, so
there.
we have the pipeline. So which for example, here the data once stored in RDS, we have a daily batch job to extract data out from RDS to AWS Data Lake. Yeah.
All right. I think we're at time, so thank you, Victor.
Yeah. Okay.